Hello, everybody, and welcome to Smack the Markets midweek market update for the 3rd of April. So this week has already started out to be quite an interesting week. It's been the start of the month and the start of a new quarter, as I sort of mentioned on Monday. So let's take a look at how the markets we discussed on Monday are starting to fare out and any sort of new opportunities that we're looking at on other markets as well throughout the remainder of this week. So if we come to the US indices, first of all, and the Dow futures contract here. So from Monday here, we were looking for this bullish stance to continue. We were looking for new money flows coming into stocks and into those sort of mutual funds. And we can see that that has actually sort of borne out, and we've seen continued strength here in the US indices. So the market here on these higher timeframes now sort of looking extremely positive, breaking out of this range that the market's been stuck in for the past sort of few weeks and pushing up to the sort of 26,200 area. So above this sort of level that we'll see here on the lower timeframes, the next sort of area really for these markets is back up there towards those highs, towards that 27,000 area. So if we come down to the sort of 4-hour time frame, we can see the 26,200 level that I have in here. We can see this was the first candle of April, and we can see that the market literally gapped up and ran. So there was clear, rather than having money rotating out of stocks at the beginning of this quarter, there was new money coming in, and that's what sort of put this bullish stance into place. And it would be sort of foolish really to think that the market is now going to turn over and dive. Now, of course, the market's already had a good run over the past sort of few trading sessions, and of course, major news announcements like the non-farm payroll news announcement that we have on Friday always has the power to create quite a lot of volatility in these markets. So as long as the market's above this 26,200 area, we're still going to be looking for longs, and our bias will still be to the long side here, pushing for higher prices for that trend to continue up to those sort of 27,000 area. So if we come down to these sort of lower time frames and take a look at the sort of 60-minute chart, we can see that we've got nice sort of bullish sort of trend formation in here. Pushing out to the long side is just looking like we're getting new advancements here, and again, from our perspective, we'll be looking for pullbacks into key levels, such as like we have up here at the moment. So back into sort of key levels, and also back into those sort of moving averages as well, to identify sort of value areas. Now, the other market that we discussed was gold. Let's come and have a look at gold here. Now, gold easier to look at this on the daily chart. So the market really hasn't moved an awful lot since Monday. It's still stuck right in between this range of 1,300 and 112.90. As long as the market's sort of stuck within this range, it's not a market that I'm interested in trading. The analysis still stacks up from Monday that I said that once the market sort of breaks out of this range, either to the short side or the long side, it opens up a sort of a decent size sort of trading window. So certainly to the short side, we've got this move down to the 1275 area. Above the 1,300 level, of course, there's a decent sized window up towards that sort of 1,320 area as well. So that was another level of key support and resistance on gold. So either side, there is decent opportunities for us to look for trading opportunities, but whilst it's still in that range, we're leaving it alone. Now, the other Forex market that we were looking for here was on euro dollar, and we were looking for euro dollar to be looking at short opportunities underneath the 11200 level. Now, the market's sort of been compressing down onto this level for quite some time, as you can see. And this week, earlier this week, I thought we were going to get the break to the short side. It's sort of tested that sort of level. It's tried to sort of push underneath, but failed to really hold any confirmation to the short side here. Otherwise, at this moment in time, from a macro perspective, it still looks very weak. It still looks very heavy from a technical perspective. From the macroeconomics, of course, it's still the weight of momentum here is certainly for dollar strength and euro weakness until the euro economy can strengthen. So still, from a longer term perspective, I'm still liking this market to the short side. It's just a question of when it sort of breaks that level. So if we come down to, actually, if we take a look at this on the daily chart, we can see that the market sort of tested this this area here. It tried, in fact, we tried to get some opportunities to go short here. The market now has had a quick return here. Now, this bullish stance that the market sort of picked up was from last night's sort of Brexit news, believe it or not, has given the euro a bit of a lift and also the Great British Pound a bit of a lift on the sort of anticipation that the Brexit deal might be a little bit more euro friendly or sort of softer than otherwise sort of seemed. So the question is really, where is the sort of point of no return? Where are we going to sort of change our sort of bias on this? And I think the sort of level up here around the 112,700 here on the daily is quite a nice sort of area to consider, and I'll show you why on the 4-hour chart in a moment. But certainly, if the market gets up here, it's back into another level of resistance, and if it gets through that, it's got quite a bit of power to get through that to sort of kind of break this sort of bearish stance on this leg anyway. Now, if we come to the 4-hour chart, we can see the 112 level down here, and if we mark in a sort of fib study from the main leg of this trend, we've got a 61.8% fib level clustering with this sort of 112,730 area that I've got marked in here. So that's very close to that 112,700 that we saw on the daily, but it's also quite a well precise, very sort of exactly precise level tested here on the 4-hour time frame. So this also ties up very closely to that level on the daily, and that's why I think that this level here is the sort of most significant sort of price point for me anyway. It also means that for the market to get up here, it's also got to break these previous highs here on the 4-hour time frame and break that trend on the 4-hour as well. So the sort of summary here of euro dollar is that we're looking, well, at the moment the market is moving higher. We're looking at those levels there as being sort of decision point areas where our sort of resistance may well hold the market if this is going to continue in its bearish stance, and of course then we'll be continuing to look for opportunities underneath that 112 level. If it gets above this 112.28 area, then of course we'll be looking for an easy move up here towards that 113 area too, and that could be an easy move there for the market. Now, for other markets, for other Forex markets this week, what opportunities are there? Well, one that we're keeping an eye on here is the Singapore dollar against the Swissy. Not the most common market to trade, but it is one of the sort of cleaner trends that we're seeing out there at the moment. If we take a look at this on the weekly, you can see that the market's been in a weekly uptrend. It's pulled back into a significant price level here. You can see that that level has been very significant on the weekly chart. It's also back into that value area with the moving averages. We've got convergence on the indicators, and we've got a bullish bounce off that level so far this week. So things are starting to look rather sort of positive for this market. If we come to the daily chart, we can see that we've got various levels of support and resistance here on this market. The market's now, if I sort of zoom out of this, you'll see those levels testing in the past. Come to the more recent price action, we can see now that the trend structure's broken here on the daily. So we've got the low, we've got a higher high. Now the market's sort of pulling back into support, which has been these levels where the market sort of found significant support and resistance before. So that's the condition of the daily. When we come to the sort of lower time frames, we can even start to see that levels that we were looking at there on the daily acting as better support here on the sort of 8-hour chart. And we've got a level up here, the next sort of level around 7,400. And you can see that 7,400 also a very well tested support and resistance structure on this market. So within the context of an uptrend, move up towards sort of 7,400 looks like the sort of initial target that we're looking for, especially if the uptrend momentum continues here. So we're looking for, again, coming down to the lower time frames here, looking for trend opportunities to be able to pull into the moving averages, looking for bullish opportunities to get to bracket candles here, or sort of breakouts, and looking at those for that initial move up towards the 7,400 price point here throughout the remainder of the week. So there's a few markets there that we're keeping a close eye on in the trading room this week. I certainly hope it helps and look forward to speaking to you next time. Bye for now.